show. This is the Easy Friday. Up, Cole Jacks. Really feeling the beat right there. Cole Jacks! Yeah, that was Cole Jacks, just by the way. It's okay. 10:30, Cole Jacks. You have all the time in the world. I promise I'll hand it over to you. But before we get there, we've got the one and only Georgie Ndirangu. Now, I've waited a long time to host this man on this hot seat because, man, as I said earlier on, he is talent, a moderator, a content creator, a senior anchor, senior producer, has been working in the media industry for over 10 years, not just here locally in Kenya, but internationally as well. And what can I say about him? Before we get to the interview, I'd like to thank you for watching the hashtag Is Easy Friday. Talk to us on social media at KBC Channel 1, at Shiksha Aurora. If you're already tuned in, asante sana for your company. We've got the Mutumas tuned in. Nicholas, you are next on this seat. He's actually tuned in with his mommy dearest, that's Susan Mutuma, so shout out to you. Thank you for your company. We've also got Barbara who's watching in. And not forgetting, our managing director, Mr. Naeem Bilal, is also tuned in to watch Mr. Georgie Ndirangu. Does that give you pressure?
Pressure, of course it does. Of course it does. This is it's been a while since I was in a studio, so I think I'm ready.
You ready for it?
I think I'm ready. Yeah.
I think he also watched you, read that script intro. So this is your chance to get back on TV.
I'm back on Monday.
You're back. I'll share his contacts.
All right, there we go.
So Georgie, tell me, I'm sure you've been asked this question so many times, but I want to ask you again, and I know you're going to give me a better answer.
Yeah.
Who is Georgie Ndirangu?
All right, Georgie Ndirangu is early 30s.
Okay.
He's a man in his early 30s who struggles to grow a beard, but tries to excel in other things.
Yeah.
So outgoing, but I also like my space. I like to do things that people find maybe difficult or a bit too strenuous to do. I like challenges, and now consulting and media. Still, media has always been a part of me, and numbers all through ever since I was a child.
It's interesting that you've mentioned that because I know that your undergrad is in actuarial science,
yes,
right? And here you are, still doing what you love to do best, but a little different in comparison to what you went through in uni,
right,
which was obviously actuarial science.
Yeah.
Did you always know that you were going to be this geek?
Well, not really. I think back then, I picked actuarial science because in high school, everyone found it really hard to do.
Okay.
Everyone said, if you do actuarial science, there's a very low chance that, you'll get to be hired in Kenya, or you'll never find a job. I mean, I didn't get to do it professionally, but so I picked that because it for other people it seemed really hard, and it was a nice challenge. And then, so when the job came at CNBC,
right,
it was business news.
Okay.
So there you get to dissect numbers and see, analysis. What does this mean for this African country? What does this mean for the future of, different sectors? So there I got to apply what I learned in school. Of course, not to as much depth, because journalism means helping the mass understand. So when I moved now to BBC, it was more general news, and then you specialize depending on whichever unit you're in. And then now with communication, I think what the numbers did is, numbers help you strip down any bit of information that you're given, and you disseminate it in a way that a lot more people can see, okay, so what exactly does this mean,
Yes.
So that's where my background comes in. And I realized recently that being a nerd is now the new cool.
Oh, absolutely.
So I guess I'm back in fashion now.
Oh, you've always been in fashion,
wow.
Georgie. Come on now. We've seen on social media. If you don't follow the man yet, I don't know what you're waiting for, because his content is something that I really enjoy to watch. And not just because it's fun, it's, engaging, of course, it's entertaining as well, but it's also very informative.
Right.
I remember, you've been posting about life, you've been posting inspirational quotes, and you've been posting a lot of videos about your journey in the industry, and of course the lessons that you've learned along the way. What has been the biggest lesson that being in the media industry has taught you?
Well, I think being in the media industry has taught me, first of all, you're not exempt from, sometimes a lot of people feel like, okay, now I'm in the limelight, a lot of things, I can get away with a lot of things, but you're really not. And then media also teaches you to be very thorough.
Okay.
Before, when we were younger, we had the excuse of, you're trying this concept. It's still the same now, but as people have grown with you, they anticipate a level of finesse. And that constant media eye and the public eye, so to speak, just pushes you to constantly give people finesse. You can't give people, rough is fine, but they want authenticity and whatnot, but you can only give them rough to a certain extent. So 85% and above of professionalism and some sense of finesse. So I think I consider myself really lucky to have people say, this time, that content was not the best. But obviously, as you move on, you strive to say, okay, I choose to, give you guys something that I've thought through a bit more differently. Yeah.
And I want to really talk about this because I feel like you're probably one of the best people to explain this to me. You said you're in your early 30s, right? Yeah. And you started your career way back, probably when you were in your early 20s. You said you've been in the industry for 10 years as a producer. Actually, 10 years. 10 years as an anchor as well. And now when we look at the younger generation, we look at the youth of today, they're starting off very early as well. They're becoming famous as early as 18 years old. Right. So how does that affect the dynamic now for you when you look at things, and of course when you look at how you are as Georgine Ndirangu as a 20-year-old? What would you like to tell Georgine Ndirangu as a 20-year-old?
Oh man, so there's two approaches. So one, what I would tell 20-year-old me,
right?
So there's where you are now. I would say, Georgie, hey Georgie, here's where you are now and here's where you anticipate to reach, right? The thing about having some level of success or having some level of money is that you start to get serious amnesia. You forget from here to here there was someone who got you there. From here to here you have this brand that came on, then this, and then you reached here. What money does to you is that it erases all these stops, right? And you feel like you were here because it was, your own doing and whatnot, but there were so many factors that came into play. Right. It's the same thing as having good health. You forget the times when you were sick, and then you go back to doing the things that made you sick anyway. So I would say, don't forget the checkpoints that you had in life and the people that got you there, or the circumstances and all the struggles that got you to where you are. If you can constantly remember that, you'll always treat people kindly and fairly, because you never know how life could go, right? Now, onto the side of all these content creators that are coming now, I feel extremely jealous. Jealous because, first of all, these are people who can wake up one day and say, you know what, I want my entire career to be based on one platform. Yes. And they can make millions off of that platform. When we were growing up, you mentioned Nick as well, we had Facebook as the primary source, and we had to do so much on that one platform to convince people that we were on the right path. And that you try to diversify, you try to do this, you don't know whether to go into a serious persona, you don't know whether people want fun or what. But with all the platforms now, you can be serious on Twitter, you can be on Instagram, you can be whatever you want to be. TikTok, you can be a dancer. And all those three can happen at the same time, concurrently. So I think where we are now in the digital space, even with the young guys, they're in such a place that I think they are extremely lucky. You just need a mind that is very somber and sober at the same time, and you will do so much. So much. There's a lot of hand-holding as well happening between the older and the younger generations, which is so beautiful to watch. And I wish if more like those happen, the content space, especially in Kenya, is fantastic. Amazing, amazing. And Georgie, when you started off as a journalist as well, it was much harder for you because we didn't have social media per se. It was there, but it wasn't at the extent of what it is now in terms of how extensive it was. And do you think that journalists now have it easier than journalists had it back in the day? Absolutely. Oof. If you realize, like, most of our parents know the anchors name by name, right? Even the ones that are here, Catherine Kasavuli, Leonard Mambo Mbotela, they know them name by name because they had them in all the legacy platforms, radio or TV. And they know the people that wrote articles. You could see your parent take a newspaper, open it and say, I want to read a story from this person. That in a sense, in journalism, there's a lot of pride in legacy. That's why people, strive to be in a certain TV station and whatnot, so there's that. But now, what this new age has come to do is so that one was based in your jurisdiction. You can only pick up that paper, you can only listen to that radio, that TV in the country you're in.
Absolutely.
But now you put up something, someone in Canada, New York, whatever,
watching you
at the same time as someone else. They probably even saw it
in real time. It's happening.
Real time. They saw it quicker than someone who's in the next room, you know. So I think we're in a very, it's one of those catch-22s where you still have the legacy people that know what real journalism is, and then you have these people that come and say, you know, I want to do a transition to show one news to another. It's such an interesting, it's interesting dynamics. I'm not sure I would survive back then, but I wouldn't know anything else, you know. But yeah, this feels nice. This feels nice.
It does feel nice. And you know, I like that you mentioned that now the younger generation has any platform to choose from, and they can use it and they can excel in that particular platform. It could be Instagram, TikTok, Twitter as well. And I follow you on all the platforms, and I have to say, we get to see a different Georgie on each platform. How do you strike the balance? On Twitter, you're this journalist, media personality who's giving facts and information as they are, you know, penning them down, and like literally everyone knows that if Georgie says something, if he tweets something, it's credible. On the other hand, on Instagram, we see the fun, the trendy Georgie who likes to dance sometimes, who likes to travel. You know, we really see that side of you. So how exactly do you strike a balance between these two personas?
So in around maybe 6-7 years ago, I was struggling with finding who I am, who I was, or at least finding what kind of path I would take. So I spoke to some friends of mine who wanted to kind of manage. I had never understood the essence of someone managing you. So they said, Georgie, you have to take 3 pillars of what you think your life is about, and do those 3 consistently. So one of those pillars was fashion. I think one was fashion, information, and fun. Right? So you look good giving information, and you have fun doing it. That was it. So those 3 pillars are spread out across the platform.
Interesting.
So on Twitter, the thing about social media now is that if you don't have a very strong mind, if you're not extremely strong-willed, you'll be dragged into things that you don't need to be. So how I've crafted my social media is Twitter is for you just come, you observe.
Information, you
give out what you need to, you communicate what you need to communicate, and you leave. I spend a lot more time on Instagram and any other platform than Twitter, although when I go to Twitter, I do spend a lot of time. And you can get dragged into social issues. There's a lot of things that trend, and you find yourself commenting and whatnot. And sometimes it's not even your place, right? You just want to comment, and we have this, so there's the essence of validation, both as self and your mind. You want people to validate what you're thinking.
Absolutely.
Every time, and that's what social media does. But the thing is, you don't have to be validated for everything. And we make a mistake sometimes where you say, you know what, I want to post this because I know it will get 100 retweets with no repercussions whatsoever. You expect no repercussions, but you want to do something that might not be the best thing. So for my social media, I do what I feel is other people, not much of other people and tweeting about other people. I just post whatever I can. If I'm questioning what Akon is doing, you know, with Akon Lighting Africa, something like that, you know, and then you leave. So I've crafted my social media that way. Then you come to Instagram, we have all the fun in the world. All the fun, we laugh the whole time.
Absolutely. And you know, the one thing that stood out for me the first time I met you is your energy. You have such a positive aura about you. Your energy is infectious. And has there ever been a time in your life where, you know, you experienced a low, or you felt that things weren't working out the way you wanted them to, and, you know, things weren't going in the direction that you had hoped for yourself? So has there ever been such a sad or a dark place in your life that you found yourself in?
Absolutely, absolutely. It happens for every human being, it happens in batches of years. So it happened first when I went to Kigali in 2012, when I started media, shifted from media, from finance to media. So complete desperation, you don't know what to do. Happened again 2014, right before I got into CNBC. I was about to come to Kenya, and then by God's grace, the job opened up and I joined CNBC. Then it happened again in 2018. That's when you're starting to see, okay, there's a bit of a ceiling. How do I move, you know, to the next level as a person, as a human, and as a journalist? And then it happened again last year, right before I left the BBC. So it happens in stages, but I think it's normal because it's the universe's way of reminding you, if you get too comfortable, you'll lose your momentum. You know, so you're stressed to the point where you feel like, if I don't jump out of this mini depression, so to speak, I went into serious, like your mind completely shuts down, stops thinking, you get anxiety, everything around you just gives you sadness until you move out, you know, you strip yourself out of that position. So I know it's going to happen again because I believe I'm going to get into really uncomfortable situations if I'm trying to elevate in life.
Right.
So I'm ready for it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've mentally prepared yourself for it.
Yeah, for sadness.
Is that how you get yourself out of it?
Well, yeah, if you prepare, like Mike Tyson, I've been watching a lot of Mike Tyson stuff, and he says, I mean, he went through all that so the people that listen to him now don't have to do it. They can anticipate what sadness is so that it's not an unfamiliar feeling. Wow. So I think if I'm already at that place, then I can know, okay, it's about to hit me. Let me work on myself.
Wise words. And I strongly believe that this positive aura that, you know, you put out there, I don't know why I feel like I have to give a little bit of credit to your mom. You've mentioned your mom a lot.
Yes.
You know, I'm lucky to have known you as a friend as well, and we've spoken about how your mom has really impacted your life and what an influence she's been on this positive person that you are today. So really, is that where you get that positive energy from?
My mother my mother gravitated from being a mother to being a friend. So we discuss almost everything in life. But she reminded me the essence of basics, right? Like basic love, basic interaction with people. Anytime I post a tweet, post about, you know, this brand we're working with, whatnot, I always think, what is my mother thinking? Wow. You know, the whole time. When I interact with someone, when someone opens the door for you, do you say thank you? You always think, like, your mother will be there, like, you didn't say thanks. Yeah. You know, you didn't say please, you didn't say... So I'm in my 30s now. There is no reason why you should, you know, you feel like you're a big boy. Yeah. You know, like, but you're constantly, like, you have to have your roots. And my mother is, like, my deepest roots.
That's amazing.
So it's nice to know that you're anchored somewhere. Until I have my own family, you know, and then I'll be their anchor. Yeah,
you'll be their anchor, absolutely. Is she your biggest fan?
Yeah, she told me today, actually. I should ask her whether she watched. She asked me, do they have a live link? I was like, you know what, you're asking all the right questions. So I think she is. She should be my biggest fan.
Speaking of fans, I'm sure you get plenty of messages every single day in your inbox, on Instagram. How do you deal with all the attention, Georgie Ndirangu?
Same way you do. Smile and wave. Smile and wave. This is what we do. Smile and wave the whole time. Just smile and wave. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's said on DM. Yeah. You could take it one way, you could take it the other. You could read too much into one thing, but some people always just come to see what you're going to say and then they leave. However you interact with them is up to you. But yeah, bottom line, respect and love. Perfect.
Negative energy. Now let's talk about, you know, cyberbullying. Let's talk about trolls. Let's talk about this new era we're in right now, where anybody feels entitled to say whatever they like, and they don't really care about the repercussions on this person's life. And as much as you are very charming, you know, you've got everything going for you, I'm sure there's been times in your life where you've seen a negative comment and you're probably like, okay, why is this here? You know, it doesn't need to be here, but what is the meaning of this? What do you do with such comments? Do they affect you? Do they really mess with your mental space?
Yeah, so most of the time you try to keep a mentality that is way above average thinking. I keep saying that, like, you have to think above average all the time. Even if you're not above average yourself, your mentality should be. So I had a bout of, I almost had a moment of weakness 2 weeks ago. Okay. Gone to the spa, you know, you'd like to take care of yourself and whatnot. And then at the same time, that same day, there was a video of a little boy happy that the mom had gotten married or something like that. And it was something along those lines, or like a dad playing with the daughter. So I reposted it on my Instagram story. And then two people, almost at the same time, almost like they were in the same room, one of them said, "Georgie, you've become really soft." And then the other one said, "What are you trying to tell us, you know, about like men should be more tough?" And I took both screenshots, I put them on my story, and I'd written a long thing about, you know, like, this is really not, my Instagram is really not the place for you to come with, you know. I will constantly post about such stuff. Then when I wrote, I said, Nah, it's too much. It's going to stay on my stories, and you know, it's too much. So there's always that moment where you feel like,
a moment of weakness.
Yeah, a moment of weakness where you want to respond to something. But these people will do anything to get your response, or they'll do anything to rile you up.
They'll do anything to get a reaction out of you. And I'm so glad that you didn't fall into that trap.
Well, yeah. Twitter is the easiest.
Yes.
Twitter is the complete easiest to fall into that, where someone says something, but also the energy you give is the one you receive. So,
always.
I mean, if you portray kindness, and not to say I'm the most kind, because we banter and insult each other a lot with my friends, you know, on social media, but everyone knows where that's coming from, right? But the energy you give is the one that will ultimately come back.
I like that he's mentioned his friends, because Georgie has 5,000 friends. I went for a party, a birthday party that I was invited for, and I'm saying this on national television because I feel like it's very important. Georgie Ndirangu actually had 500 people present there who had all come. 402. 402, yeah. Not much of a difference.
Yeah.
Really, Georgie. Anyways, so they came there to, you know, just to celebrate you, to celebrate Georgie Ndirangu. How do you manage to keep such a big circle of friends? Because I know what they say, the older you get, the smaller your circle, right? And I've experienced this as well. I've witnessed this as the years have gone by. I've seen how my circle is getting smaller. But I feel like for you, as the years go by, your circle gets bigger. What is it that you're doing that we aren't? What's your secret, Georgie?
No, the older you get, the smaller the circle, but the wider the social capital, right? So the social circles don't stop increasing.
Right.
They continue, but the people that you actually call friends, they become a smaller group. So for me, that day was a great reminder of the social capital. It had been friends from different walks of life. So primary school, high school, university, and then like friends who professional, and then we met like you now, we became really good friends. It was, so I remember a friend of mine, I almost cried at the time when we were doing the speeches, and then they say, you know, we've come all this way for you, just look around. And it's like, oh my gosh. You know, I didn't know how to respond, but it's knowing that, let's say I come here now, the producer, of course, one of the producers is my friend, one of the anchors is my friend, you're my friend, so I've made 2 extra friends today. If there was something and I invite them over personally, they'll feel, you know, inclined to come if we had a nice, you know, introduction to each other. And that's how it is in every stage of life. That's what we're saying. If someone opens the door for you, you say thank you. You know, if someone prepares the script for you, you say thank you. And most of these people never forget, because that thank you is probably the biggest thing that they've had that particular day. So I think that's what that day reminded me. Stay tuned. This birthday, this year might be a bit more intimate.
Will you need to hire an entire field?
Well, no, hey.
Gone race course. So this is what we talk about. This is what we mean by, you know, the marketing, networking skills. Welcome to my TED Talk, and that was Georgie Ndirangu.
There we go.
There we go. That's it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Georgie, now let's talk about something fun. You know, I put out a question on my Instagram asking, what is it that you'd like to know about Georgie Ndirangu? What are some of the things that, you know, you don't know about Georgie and you'd love to discover and explore? So some of the messages that came in were mostly inclined towards your relationship status. Is Georgie Ndirangu single?
Yes.
Oh, ladies, have you heard that? Even in studio, I heard.
I can hear the.
Did you hear that?
Are people coughing in studio?
Yeah, in studio. We've got ladies in studio who are actually like, okay, all right. It's okay. After this, you can ask for his number. I'll give you. And Georgie, why? How? What's going on?
I mean, I was dating. I was dating recently.
How can someone as charming as you be single?
I know. I know,
How
I know.
now?
Billboard. Let's put it on Billboard. But I was dating. We're no longer together. Of course, we're friends. Yeah, and then you take a while, then you go on dates, and then you start seeing someone else. When that time comes. But now.
When the time is right.
When the time is right. But I always say you can never be single when you're walking with God. Yeah. So yeah.
All right.
That was me marketing.
Never say never.
Yeah, and I have a tortoise at home. Just
you have a tortoise?
Yeah, so my life is pretty full at the moment. Yeah, my plate is full. Yeah.
Apart from, you know, being this extremely well-known human being, social, somebody who I feel everyone loves to love, Georgie, what are some of your hobbies? I've gone for a few sporting events with Georgie, and let me tell you something. This man is competitive on another level.
That's true.
As in, if the C of competition was to define somebody, it would be G, Georgie.
Yeah.
I'm not lying to you, honestly. He's so competitive. And I feel like whatever you do in life, you put in your 200%,
Yeah.
be it bowling, be it golf, be it, you know, dance as well.
Yeah.
You excel in everything. Is there something that you're bad
That's
at?
actually really nice to hear. Yeah, I suck at skating.
Okay, so you can't skate.
I can't skate. I can't play piano. I used to play piano in high school and then I forgot.
Okay.
Imagine. So
Even Mary Had a Little Lamb, you can't play it?
Ding, 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 ding.
I can play that.
I don't
That's
know.
all I can play.
So yeah, I can't skate. I can't run as fast as I used to. But there's a lot of things I want to learn. But the competition, what's the point of doing anything if you're just going to do it just to do it?
Just for the sake of it?
No. We already
You
live
have to
just
win.
for the not win, but you have to give it your best and then wait
Do
for
it
the
to the
results.
best of your abilities.
Then wait for the results.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What's your life mantra? What is, you know, something that you could literally live by day in, day out?
My life mantra is my Twitter, my pinned post.
Okay.
Never forget, a ladder goes up and down. That's it. Like when you go up, it's the same way you come down. So don't lose that. Like what I was saying, don't get amnesia when you reach the top or when you make some amount of money or you get to different circles. Things could always go unexpected.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you know, there's so many young people who look up to you. I know of people here at KBC as well who have told me that, oh wow, Georgie is coming. You know, we really look up to him. He's an inspiration. He's a role model. And I'm sure you've got so many direct messages on Instagram and on Twitter as well, just telling you how incredible you are. And what you've done for yourself is something that they really want to do and they can learn from you.
Yeah.
Right? So would you be open to mentoring people? And if so, what is something that you believe, you know, you want to instill in this younger generation as Georgie Ndirangu? What would you tell them?
Right. So when we were growing up, we didn't know much about what success looked like. Everyone had their own version. So success in our eyes, because we're that generation that came right after our parents. So no internet and then internet, then everyone else had, you know, things to do. So our version of success was get a car, marriage, you know, get a house, get some piece of land, you know, and then
It's all
thrive.
systemic.
Very systemic. So what we knew was going the journey yourself. But what I would tell people now is that, first of all, almost every idea has been thought of. Almost every business has been started. You will spend so much time, money, and unnecessary resource trying to do something by yourself. There's extreme power in partnerships now. Whether it's content creation, whether it's building a, you know, tech business or dancing even, whatever it is, just find someone who has similar interests or like complements what you're trying to do, or and go at it with someone else or a group of
Collaborate.
people. Collaborate. Doing something by yourself right now in this day and age is probably the worst waste of time as we speak right now. So I would say just partner with people that have a collective mindset and you'll go so far. Yeah. We didn't have that when we were of course coming up.
Yeah.
But now things have changed now. Yeah.
Interesting. And, you know, lastly, as we wrap up, you know, this is a question I'm sure you've heard so many times, but, you know, as we want to, like, hear more about what you've got planned for yourself, because I feel like you have a plan for everything in life. You do, right?
Absolutely.
Where does Georgie Ndirangu see himself in the next 10 years?
So in the next 10 years, I hope to have a child running around with the dogs in a ranch. A ranch you can't see the end, you know, with horses and animals. I love such stuff. I would love to open like the giving back to society would be digital libraries or libraries. That's why we started the book club. People didn't understand what it was about. They thought we just wanted to have like an intimate setting where people come and read books. But the bigger plan is to have such settings in schools and kids' schools all across the region, Sub-Saharan Africa, or whatever countries will allow such settings to come in. I feel like I would love to have even create an environment, whether it's a home or whatever, where creatives and musicians who come from all over the world can come in a room such as this and have an intimate jamming session, whether it's the Justin Bieber will just come sit, you know, like all these people from all over the world, the Sauti Souls, the what have you, will just come and then channel whatever they know to an intimate crowd of people. So I feel like when you elevate and you open some doors where people feel like, oh, that person is really successful, you get access to a lot of things and people.
Okay.
And I would hope that in 10 years you reach that point where people easily open the door for you, and then you can tell them, okay, come, you know, engage with certain people. So I don't think, I would love to have like a very not too flamboyant, but a life that allows you to move around, you know, go have dinner here, go have where, but still remember what like makes you happy, the competition, the seeing people, you know, move up and down. So in 10 years, let's see. But the kids, yeah, that's definitely top of mind.
Amen.
And 6 dogs.
All right,
Yeah.
6 dogs, 1 kid, a life, two kids, a life that allows you to travel, move around, and build.
There we go, and libraries.
And libraries.
Yeah.
That's it. He said it all. And that was Georgie Ndirangu. Thank you so much. What an absolute pleasure it has been just speaking to you. I've learned so much. I'm sure you've learned as well. Just, you know, wisdom pouring, oozing out of this man. There's so much that, you know, I have learned from him, as I said earlier on. But also I feel like in terms of his inspiring way of wait, let's just get that. His inspiring outlook of life. That's something that I think, you know, we all need. A perspective that's fresh, a perspective that gets you to elevate and to grow. So keep at it, and all the best in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
so
for
much
watching. This has been #Easy Friday. We'll do this again next week, same time, same place. For now, Cole Jacks. I told you I'll give it back to you. Here you go. Take it away. And it's time.